Roger Waters, bienvenue à Tout le monde en parle. Vous êtes l'auteur-compositeur principal de The Wall, que vous avez créé en 1979 avec Pink Floyd. Pour le 375e anniversaire de Montréal en 2017, l'Opéra de Montréal va présenter Another Brick in the Wall, l'opéra, une adaptation de The Wall, et on va en écouter un extrait. Roger, c'est le compositeur québécois Julien Bilodeau qui a adapté la musique pour l'opéra The Wall. Vous avez vous-même déjà composé un opéra par le passé. Vous n'aviez pas envie de faire vous-même l'adaptation de The Wall pour l'opéra?
No, I didn't. I'll tell you why. It's always been my impression that symphonic versions of pop music and rock and roll are normally disasters. And when they asked me to do this, I wrote them an extremely polite letter telling them of that view, but they were most insistent. And I know, I said to Julien, I said, okay, do me 3 demos in MIDI. I think it was Flesh 1, Brick 2, and Comfortably Numb. And then come and see me in New York. And I never thought they would, but he did. And I was expecting to be unimpressed, and I was so impressed. The music was fantastic. What Julien has done is quite remarkable. I was moved by it. The hair stood out on the back of my neck. I was very surprised, and of course immediately said, okay, let's do it. Let's go.
Roger, vous avez eu l'idée de The Wall à la suite d'un incident qui s'est produit à Montréal en juillet 77 pendant un spectacle de Pink Floyd au Stade olympique. Vous aviez craché au visage d'un fan qui vous dérangeait sur scène. Après coup, votre geste vous a horrifié et vous avez eu l'idée de ce mur qui sépare un artiste du public. Êtes-vous reconnaissant à ce fan de Montréal aujourd'hui, puisque c'est grâce à lui que vous avez eu l'idée de The Wall?
On l'a retrouvé.
Yeah, I go and see him most weekends. He's obviously very old now, but so I visit him and we talk about the old times. Yeah. For instance, when I did a conference earlier today at the Olympic Stadium, and I thought, no, this isn't the place. This must be a different one because it had a roof. But I'm told that it didn't have a roof when I was there in 1977. But now the roof is stuck and cannot be removed, and so it now has a roof forever. So it is the same place, I believe.
Roger, en 2010 et 2013, sans Pink Floyd, vous avez présenté The Wall en spectacle 219 fois. La tournée a été un immense succès, vous en avez tiré un disque. On va écouter quelques extraits.
À l'époque, moi, je suis arrivé autour de 1969, le quatrième album qui était Homogama.
Oui.
Et c'était à l'époque où il y avait des chansons de 8 minutes 43, 12 minutes. Et ensuite, il y a eu Atomic Mother.
Oui, avec la vache.
Avec la vache.
Oui.
Pas de poule.
C'était tout ça, hein?
Totalement. Et la première pièce durait 23 minutes et quelques.
Ouais.
Et c'était des albums concept. À l'époque, c'était aussi des opéras rock, comme Tommy, comme Jesus Christ Superstar, comme l'album concept de Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. Et à Montréal, à cette époque-là, en 69, il y avait la première radio underground qui faisait jouer des plages complètes d'albums, pas juste des pièces. C'était à ce moment-là qu'on découvrait ces albums-là prodigieux.
C'est une question, ça, ou c'est un commentaire?
Dans un livre,
Roger, c'est quand même paradoxal de faire un spectacle à grand déploiement, inspiré par le fait que vous vous sentiez isolé du public dans les spectacles à grand déploiement.
Yeah, it is paradoxical, but after the show that I did here, in all the remorse I felt, having spat upon one of the good people of Montreal, on the plane home or sometime before, but apparently I told one of the band on the plane home, I had this great idea. Do a rock show, and I'm going to build a wall across the front of the stage so that the audience can't see the band and the band can't see the audience. Isn't that a great idea? And I was, obviously, they went, yeah, great, you know, what is wrong with him? And but I thought it was a great idea, and it has proved a very successful theatrical device. And it gave me a chance to think about all kinds of stuff that was going on with me. We all carry within us, you know, that damaged, wounded inner child. Every single human being has one. And part of life is confronting the feelings that this little person has and trying to figure out why and whether there's anything that we can do about it in order to grow a little bit and to change. So I'm very grateful for the experience I had with a kid climbing up the front of the stage in that, you know, in the Olympic Stadium all those years ago. It helped me enormously in the long run.
Et qu'est-ce qu'il avait fait ce gars-là pour mériter le crachat?
He was trying to invade my space at my stage.
Dans ce dernier spectacle, vous avez mis davantage l'accent sur le volet politique de The Wall pendant cette production. Pendant le spectacle, vous projetiez sur le mur qui s'érigeait sur la scène des photos de victimes de la guerre. Et parmi les photos de victimes de cette guerre-là, il y avait celle de votre père, qui est mort en Italie pendant la Deuxième Guerre mondiale. Est-ce que la mort de votre père a été un moteur important de votre création?
Yeah, the death of my father has been and will remain for the rest of my life key. You know, he died a strangely heroic death because at the beginning of the Second World War he was a conscientious objector because he was Christian and he'd been taught and believed firmly that killing people was wrong.
Ouais.
Not something that all Christians have believed down through history, sadly. But then he decided that the menace presented by the Third Reich he was working driving an ambulance in the Blitz in London, and he became politicized and became very left-wing, joined the Communist Party, and decided that the need to fight the Nazis trumped his Christianity. So he went back and said, I've changed my mind, volunteered. It was, 6 weeks basic training, officer training, and then he was in Italy for 2 or 3 weeks and he was killed. And it is why I feel such empathy for the children of, but also any relation of anybody who falls victim to war or any other kind of conflict.
Qu'est-ce que vous pensez du mur que M. Trump veut construire au Mexique?
I have a limited amount of breath left in my life and I'm not going to waste any of it on Donald Trump.
Roger, vous avez présenté The Wall 219 fois par vous-même, mais vous ne l'aviez joué avec Pink Floyd qu'une trentaine de fois dans 4 villes après la sortie du disque en 1980. Pourquoi si peu de concerts alors que le disque était déjà un succès?
Back in those days, you could make money selling albums, but you couldn't make any money or even break even, or even come close to break even, putting on a show as complex as The Wall was. back in the day. So it was a financial consideration. Every time that Dave and Nick and Rick and I went out and performed the Wall, it cost us, I don't know how many thousands of dollars, but a lot of money every time we did it. And you can go and do that for so long, and then you think, maybe not. Whereas now, everything has turned around. Nobody can make any money out of selling records, because as soon as you create a song and record it, your intellectual copyright is immediately stolen by Silicon Valley, and all your work is given away by Pandora or Spotify or one of those companies that is only interested in selling soap powder or Volkswagens or whatever it might be. So the whole thing has not become about a transaction between people who like music and want to buy it and the people who make music and maybe enjoy making it. It's become a transaction between Volkswagen and Silicon Valley, and the rest of us are completely irrelevant to it. They don't care about you who download it or maybe even buy something, and they certainly don't care about me or anybody else who makes it. Not that I'm whining, I've made a good living out of this, but I really feel deeply for young men and women now who write songs and make records and want music to be their life and are passionate about it and cannot scrape a living together because all of their intellectual copyright is being stolen by these arseholes. And I hope that somehow they organise their labour in some way and fight back, and that this changes, because they will kill music. In the end, there won't be any. There won't be anything to buy because nobody will work in this industry.
Roger, vous étiez à Berlin lors de la chute du mur en novembre 89. 8 mois plus tard, vous avez présenté The Wall en concert avec une pléiade d'artistes. Qu'est-ce que vous vous rappelez de ce concert-là?
It took about 6 months to get together, but it was extremely memorable, and there were some great people who came and played on the show and worked on it with me. I think it was the largest number of people ever gathered anywhere for a single act. In the end, we had to take all the walls that were surrounding the gig down and just let everybody in, because so many people had travelled so far to come, and they came because it was symbolic of the removal of walls. So for the person who I won't waste any breath on, I would just have this message, and that is, your plan to surround your country entirely with a wall to keep others out is doomed to failure, because people will always travel across national and international borders in search of work, or in order to equalise some economic problem, or to travel from an ex-colony to an ex-colony, or for some reason. And you cannot stop them with walls. All you're going to do is create enmity and strife and huge profits, obviously, for the people who make weapons. But you will not help anybody, least of all the people that you're trying to surround, because to live in a siege mentality is deeply uncomfortable and wrong. So I can't stop talking. What is wrong with me? He keeps asking me weird questions.
Vous avez quitté Pink Floyd en 1983. On a entendu dire que ça s'est mal passé avec les autres membres du groupe. Et vous vous êtes retrouvés pour un concert bénéfice Live Aid à Londres. C'était la première fois que vous jouiez ensemble depuis 1983. C'était en 2005. Est-ce que ce concert vous a permis de panser les vieilles plaies?
Je sais pas.
Non?
I'm very good friends with Nick Mason, but I always was. We were always close friends. When the schism happened, we sort of there was a problem there. I felt slightly betrayed, and I'm sure he did too. We reacquainted with one another 10 years ago or something, and we're very good friends again now, like we were. Rick sadly died.
Oh, yeah.
And David and I were never really very close. We're never enemies, and we're not enemies now.
No?
We walk parallel paths or separate paths or whatever. It's probably okay not to be great pals with people you work with.
Mais après Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant et Jimmy Page avaient fait un disque ensemble. Est-ce qu'on peut espérer, même si Pink Floyd ne reviendra plus, qu'on pourrait avoir un jour un disque Waters Gilmore?
What is wrong with this guy?
On jase.
I think David's position is that he wants to retire, or that he almost is retired. I think he just made a record. In fact, I know he just made a record.
Oui, lui, il a dit que Pink Floyd, c'était terminé. C'est ça qu'il a dit récemment. Qu'il n'y avait plus de spectacle, qu'il n'y avait plus de disque, qu'il a décidé
Yeah, but so did I.
s'en vaut.
So, you know, maybe he's wrong as well. Maybe we'll see Nick Mason out on the road on his own. He has a perfectly legal right, apparently. I'm kidding. I mean, I know I'm not saying he ever would, but, you know, these things, it's only a name. It's just a name. It's just two words. I mean, I know it means a lot to a lot of people, and it means a lot to me, obviously. It was, you know, it was my career for 20 years, and it was great, and I love what we did, and it was a wonderful band to be in, and it gave me a chance to grow up a little bit and to develop such talent as I have, and so I'm extremely grateful for it. You know, but it's, you know, but I think all this talk about reunions that's been going on since 1985. How long is that? It's a long time. What is it, 30 years? 30 years.
32 ans.
Enough already. It's 30 years, for God's sake. Let's let sleeping dogs lie.
Roger, vous militez au sein de BDS une campagne de boycott et de pression contre Israël. Pourquoi?
Because I've travelled extensively there since 2006 and 2007. And I've seen firsthand the predicament of the Palestinian people. And in 1947, when the State of Israel was created, it was created against a background that it was suggested by the United Nations in Resolution 191 that two states should be created. Well, they never have been. The Palestinians still don't have a state, and there have been no serious moves made to allow them to have a state. In fact, the last time that there was any movement really positively was in 2012, when their status was changed to non-member observer state from non-member observer entity. So the word state appeared in their name. But nevertheless, they need the support of anybody who cares about justice or love in the world to support their cause, to be allowed the basic human right of self-determination, which they do not have, and to be allowed basic property rights and basic democratic rights and the right to vote and all the rights they don't have, because in the occupied territories, if we're allowed to call them that, they don't have any rights at all. They live under martial law and none of them have any rights at all, which is unconscionable. And so BDS, so it's a perfectly legitimate, non-violent form of protest that people who feel the same as I do, and not everybody has to, and obviously not everybody does, can use. What is dangerous is people who think that it should be made illegal to protest peacefully against the policies of some foreign regime of which you disapprove. They're trying to make it illegal, not just here in Canada and the United States, but in the EU as well. And that I find very, very, very unsettling and disturbing. I find it very disturbing to think that an ordinary human rights organization that I am part of can be turned into an illegal organization, and that I could be incarcerated for my part in it. There is something odd, strange and upsetting and wrong about that, and it's happening.
Le gouvernement canadien a décidé de voter une motion pour boycotter la campagne BDS. Vous réagissez comment?
I'm very happy to say that